Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother, Alif, and today we would like to decipher and decipher the need for unity. In 1975, the Nation of Islam fell. That wasn't the first time it fell, that was the second time it fell. It also fell in 1934 when Master Muhammad departed and left the wilderness of North America. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad explained to us that at that time, you could put the whole Nation of Islam in the back of a taxi cab. And under the misinformation and division of Yaqub's law of divide and conquer, the Nation of Islam became divided against itself. It grew weak. It ultimately died. There are many that strove to help redeem and resurrect the Nation of Islam. In 1934, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad worked with the laborers, few they were, to rebuild the Nation of Islam. But at that time, the Nation of Islam had all these different fractions that a lot of people are not aware of. His own brother, the supreme captain of the Nation of Islam, turned hypocrite and started slandering the same man that he claimed to love. And ultimately, it led to violence. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to run from the hypocrites and enemies seeking to put a cold knife in him or some hot bullets in him to kill him out of misinformation, misinterpretation, misunderstanding, and ignorance, and jealousy, and fear. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad's shoes is just simply too big for any of us to put on and run around the house acting like we're the messenger of Allah. Often we think it's easy to do a particular work or do a particular job. But if God is for you, who can be against you? No weapon formed against you will prevail, because you're in accord with the supreme will of the supreme Allah God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever. In the resurrection of the Nation of Islam, nationally, the first one that stood back up to redeem and resurrect the Nation of Islam is the Honorable Brother Minister Silas Muhammad. Silas Muhammad sought to restore and redeem the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But we all operate in accordance with the 24 scientists, the 25,000-year cycle. It is written, Allah knows us before we're in the wombs of our mother. Allah knows us when we're that tiny atom. Allah knows us as an amoeba swimming around in the oceans, in the water that our father drank. And when I say Allah, I'm not talking about a mystery God. I'm not talking about law in the sky or some supernatural being or entity that exists independent and outside of you, or somewhere real tiny in a spook form existing in your heart or somewhere in your subconsciousness or somewhere in your being. No. Master Fard Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us Allah is all of us. There is no mystery God. And this is what most people simply do not get. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Bible, the Quran, Theology of Time, the historic interview Elijah Meets the Press in 1972, they all make it abundantly clear that you are the temple of God. You are the masjid. You are Hajj. You are the Kaaba. You are the synagogue. You are the church. You are the school. You are Allah. I'm not trying to get you to look at a picture of Master Fard Muhammad. I'm not trying to argue whether the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still physically alive on the mother plane somewhere in the atmosphere, troposphere, stratosphere, and ionosphere, and exosphere. Nah, spookism. I don't work with that. I want to give you what we know, not what we believe. We can believe anything. In 1970, for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad explained to us that we can believe there's an airplane outside on the doorstep. But once we open up that door, we now know whether or not there's an airplane outside that doorstep. Our experience, our struggles, our sacrifices, the bows and arrows that the enemy uses to try to crucify us, to try to stop our works. They want to put nails in our hands and crucify us like they did to Christ, Jesus. They want to stop our movements by fastening our feet, our foundation, to the crossroads of truth and falsehood. They want to confuse us by putting a crown of thorns around the circumference of our brain, our divine intelligence, our holy intellect. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad explained to us that the Nation of Islam would rise and fall, and then rise and never fall again. That's the beauty of it. So we have to understand that even though the Honorable Silas Muhammad stood up and did his work, which I appreciate, there were others that simply kept standing. There were others on a smaller scale that kept the work going. You know what I mean? My minister, Jeremiah Shabazz in Philadelphia, you know what I mean? He went with the messenger's son Wallace, and then he seen that wasn't his way, and he came back to help Philadelphia by reestablishing the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know what I mean? A brother I used to live with was there when Minister Jeremiah Shabazz got shot. My mentor, my elder, Russell 5X Vance, Rasulullah, he was the secretary. The captain, Nasheed, Robert X. Teller, a North Philly legend, an OG to me, the one that I live with, he explained the repercussions that took place when Jeremiah got shot. A lot of people don't understand how many brothers and sisters, a lot of MGTs are divine and great pioneers in their own right. My mother's oldest sister is my Aunt Ola Hassan, thoughts of peace be upon her. She was the lieutenant under Minister Jeremiah Shabazz. We lived around the corner from headquarters, from Temple number 12 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was born and raised in North Philadelphia, right there on Hazard Street, literally Hazard Street, 1500 block. And my aunt, she used to always have the vegan stuff. She always was, you know, she had the Afrocentric stuff, the incense, the messenger picture up the flags. You know, I seen them going to services all the time wearing that garbs. My cousins, Jasmine and Wadia, that's how they move. You know what I mean? I wasn't in it, but I was younger, but that was them. That was their lifestyle. That was the culture. You know what I mean? I got my hair cut at Brother James' barbershop down Tioga Avenue in North Philly. When my mom sent me the store, I went to the FOI store. My mother shopped at your supermarket on Tioga Avenue. We went to a black supermarket owned by the Nation of Islam. We went to Capitol Cleaners. We you know, the gas station on 15th and Lehigh was owned by the FOI. You know what I mean? So the brothers and sisters that paved the way for us, we owe it to them to make sure that this nation never falls again. Now, there's a lot of envy and jealousy and justified criticism of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, like anyone. But the fact remains, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stood up a month after Silas Muhammad, Silas stood up in August, Farrakhan stood back up in September to help redeem and reclaim the Nation of Islam. At that time, he was under Imam Worthy Muhammad as his spokesman. He was Abdul Hakim. He had his Kufi, he had his Sunnah. You know, they was orthodox at that time. But the Honorable Minister Farrakhan had in his heart the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he felt as though he needed to come back and help our people with those original teachings. Now, when you do that, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of struggle you have to go through. When Masfar Muhammad left, Masfar Muhammad established a lost temples of Islam. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad changed the teachings to Muhammad's temples of Islam. Masfar Muhammad was known as Prophet W.D. Farr. The Honorable Elijah, no, that's a law in person. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the supreme minister. He was like, no, I'm the messenger of Allah. They was, oh, you changing the teachings. No, The messenger wasn't changing the teachings. The teachings changed Messenger Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan, when he stood back up, even though Silas stood back, no one was more articulate, more of an organizer, more of an evangelist, more of someone that can speak to the world than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he stood back up and did a divine work that we should be thankful for, grateful for. Now, I mean, that don't mean that I agree 100% with everything Jeremiah say. And it's like, no, just because I may not believe everything or agree with all the different things, that don't mean that I don't agree with his overall message. It's like politics. You don't agree with everything a politician do and say. Now, I mean, but you appreciate great leaders and teachers and mentors that help guide you out of triple darkness. So the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, the freedom, justice, and equality, it goes back to the supreme law, Master Fard Muhammad. And we have to be thankful for all the fractions that help find the common denominator to build this whole number. We're now in the year 2022. We have the Honorable Silas Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Brother Minister Levi Kareem is doing the divine work. Brother Minister Mutaquan Ali in North Philly right now is still holding it down. He don't get a lot. You know, see, when you don't have the pump and the glitter, the fame and the fortune, you know what I mean, success does not depend on numbers. Success does not depend on money. If success depended on who got the numbers, the Pope of Rome would be over Farrakhan. If it depended on who got the money, the Pope of Rome would be over Silas. It don't depend on how much money you got. It doesn't depend on how fancy your church is. If it built on who got the most beautiful building, the Nation of Islam buildings is child's play compared to these mega churches out here. I mean, TD Jakes and all of it, like, man, come look. We make more money in a day than y'all make in 10 years. We got more followers in here. Broad is the path that leads to destruction. But few are on that straight and narrow. Few are on that Sirat al-Mustaqim. So we're in a position as believers to make sure the Nation of Islam never falls again. Now, I'm not a prophet. I can't see into the future in a magical sense, but we can use mathematics. Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. God adds and multiplies. Satan divides and subtracts. We have to understand the mathematics that it's going to take to keep this Nation of Islam moving forward. I'm going to do my little part. I need you to do your little part. And when all these atoms do our part, that Nation of Islam becomes what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad prophesies. It is to become universal. The universal Nation of Islam. Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Alif. Salam Allah.